This car right beside me is obviously off-road oriented. I mean, just take a look at the bumper with its plastic colored moldings. Take a look at the fenders, the over fenders, and how they're also plastic colored. How you have blacked out rims. How you have a roof rail on top, a stepboard by the bottom, and even this kind of like a blank panel here by the C-pillar. Does it not remind you of off-road oriented vehicles from premium European brands that cost top dollar or top peso, as we should probably say? But if those vehicles cost upwards of 5, 6, or 7 million, guess what? This car right beside me, the 2024 BAIC B30e Dune, will simply retail for a starting introductory price of 1,488,000 pesos for the two-wheel drive variant. And for this particular one that we have right beside us, the four-wheel drive variant, it will start below 2 million pesos. With that in mind, in this video, let's take a look at what exactly it has to offer. Let's first talk about its powertrain, because I believe that this is one of the most impressive things that this vehicle has to offer. So starting off, your hood. It has hood struts on it. And underneath is a 1.5-liter gasoline engine mated to either a single or double motor system, double motor hybrid system. Get the two-wheel drive variant and you have a front-wheel drive setup making 339 horsepower and 550 newton meters of torque. Now, if you get this particular four-wheel drive variant, you now have that dual motor setup, which gives you all-wheel drive. This one brings 409 horsepower and 685 newton meters of torque. That is just mind-blowing. You have a two-stage transmission too for your dedicated hybrid transmission. And with that out of the way, let's now explore the exterior. Right here in front, you will see that you have these nice lines on the hood. We've already seen this in some BAIC vehicles in the past, but now we are seeing it again. Instead of giving you some Beijing lettering, yes, it just says BAIC. Woohoo, that is good. And the grille too, it is covered under some sort of plastic, which does really give it a modern touch. Lights are obviously LEDs because we are already in 2024. And over at the side, if you can just come closer right here, you'll notice too that this four-wheel drive variant will come with lights on the fenders. You have fog lights up front. You still get 19-inch rims just like the two-wheel drive variant, but you now get a step board and you also get some bits in the interior, which we will talk about later. Now, over here at the rear of the BAIC B30e Dune, it has a very interesting design language. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but the closest thing I can think of is it's pretty similar to the Hyundai Santa Fe, the new one that is. Now, this is a power tailgate, but before we open that, the most important thing here is that you do have the hybrid badge. So at least enforcers will immediately know that this is a hybrid vehicle and that you will not be caught for coding. Now, with this power tailgate all the way up, what's quite interesting here is, number one, you do have a 220-volt outlet right here, and you can activate that by activating what they call the camping mode inside your vehicle. But what's even more impressive is this, okay, now this right here, this is your parcel cover, your tonneau cover. But what's pretty cool about this is, if it works as a tonneau cover just like this, hold on, bear with me here, there you go. Now I have a tonneau cover, right? But if you lift up this false floor, you're gonna reveal legs. So these legs can just be threaded onto this tonneau cover, which I'm not gonna do everything, but let me just do a couple of them just to demonstrate to you. And what you're gonna get is, remember how I said that this is an off-road oriented vehicle? Well, it can also be used for camping now. So as you pull this out, and if you do put those other two legs, this also functions as a table. And also, if usually tonneau covers can only take very light items because they are made out of soft materials, well, this one can take up to 15 kilograms. Pretty impressive, is it not? Now that we're inside the BAIC B30e Dune, let's now explore the exterior a little bit. So first thing that will greet you here is a surprisingly colorful interior. So in this particular car, which they call the moss green color scheme, you also get an interior with some of that moss green two-toned with the gray. If you go for the white one, for example, you're gonna get the white interior with some like orange stitching and all that. So it's just slightly different depending on the color that you get. But anyway, in terms of materials, as of now, at first glance, I am seeing a lot of plastics that are covered in some sort of a rubberized material. There are use of like leather bits here and there, not bad, pretty soft touch too. And that's something you would really not expect from this price range. And even have a 10.25-inch digital instrument cluster. But What's even more impressive is the center screen, which measures 14.6 inches big. Now, this particular pre-production unit does not come with Apple CarPlay nor Android Auto, but according to BAIC, the unit that will arrive starting October 2024 will now come with Apple CarPlay. As to whether or not they will come with Android Auto, well, they aren't sure yet, but we will find out hopefully soon enough. The seats, they seem pretty comfortable right now. We haven't been able to test this out on longer drives, but yes, they do seem pretty comfortable. They seem pretty wide too, and on top they even have a panoramic sunroof. Now, will this car come with ADAS features? Well, yes, according to BAIC, it will, but we do have to wait until we get to drive this out on the open road for us to truly test every single one of those advanced driver assistance system features. Oh, also, if you're wondering what the difference is between the four-wheel drive and the two-wheel drive variant insofar as interior is concerned, well, first of all is the wireless charging pad. You don't get that in the two-wheel drive variant. You also don't get heated and ventilated seats, and you also do not get heated steering wheel. So if you can live with those, especially the heated steering wheel, I don't think anyone's really going to look for that in the Philippines, and you're absolutely golden with the two-wheel drive variants interior as well. Oh, one thing though, in the second row there are these B-pillar grab handles. You don't get that in the two-wheel drive variant, but aside from that, they are practically the same. Being somewhat of a mid-size SUV, you would expect that this car would have 7 seats, but no, it doesn't. However, all that length and the disappearance of those probably 2 extra seats at the third row gave you so much space here at the second row. I mean, look at this. That's crazy. I used to bring this up a lot. I used to own a Mercedes-Benz S-Class, right? A long wheelbase one, and I have about the same amounts of legroom as that one. That's crazy. Anyway, aside from legroom, you also have pretty good headroom despite having that panoramic sunroof, and you even have a flat floor, like a completely flat floor. So if you see the third person in here, yes, that's so much doable. Headroom is also still pretty good. You do have your own air vents back here. You do have pretty okay materials on the side, and you do have a USB-A port. Overall, I mean, there's really not much to say about this back seats. It's pretty good. So now we get a chance to try out the BAIC B30e Dune 4-wheel drive, the dual motor variant, here in this private lot, this private area. And honestly, there's not much flat roads for us to really give a fair and accurate description of the power, because if it's not downhill, it's probably uphill right now. However, we're gonna do the best we can. First of all, let us put this vehicle into sport mode, and right now it's relatively flat, so we're just gonna give it a quick acceleration test. BAIC says that you can go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in this one in only 6.9 seconds with its 409 horsepower and 685 newton meters of torque. So in 3, 2, 1, we're just gonna floor it. 3, 2, 1, and we go. There's a lot of wheel spin. This uses some GT Comfort tires, which are the same set of tires that you would get with the likes of the GAC M-POW. And yes, although you do have some of that wheel spin, you really do feel all of that torque, and that truly is one of the biggest benefits of having a hybrid motor, because you get almost instant torque with an electric drivetrain. Okay, so that aside, so far I am noticing a little bit of tire noise in here, but that could be because the road here isn't exactly the best. It's not exactly public road quality in here, but yeah, we will test out the ride quality as well as the noise insulation in here once we get to drive this on public roads in the future. Now, anything else I want to comment on? Yes, that would be the steering, because in sport mode it is pretty heavy. It feels slightly artificially heavy, but let me put it back to comfort mode right here, and yes, it isn't bad. The steering, it's light enough. You'd expect that a car this size would have pretty heavy steering, but it doesn't, and that really is one of the advantages of using an electronic power steering system. So just a quick recap, the BAIC B30e Dune will be available in 2 variants. A front-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive variant, which will start at 1,488,000 pesos. That will have a single motor. If you want to opt for the more powerful dual motor setup with all-wheel drive and with 685 Newton meters of torque, well, that will only set you back below 2 million pesos. At first glance, this vehicle and its pricing seems very impressive. However, we still do have to wait until we get to test drive this vehicle on Philippine public roads to give it a final verdict. So do stay tuned for our full review coming hopefully very soon.